What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for December 26, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery, wishing everyone out there a blessed Kwanzaa if you are celebrating. It is Tuesday. We are going to have our motivation / positivity today. We will get into the Eagles game. I hope Santa was good to everyone. You all had a Merry Christmas. But first, our Tuesday positivity / motivation. It's all about gratitude. And I figured this was a good way to end the year, especially the day after Christmas. I had mentioned before that I was reading Alex Toussaint's book, and he talks a lot about gratitude in it. And to me, gratitude helps keep everything focused on the positive and helps block out some of those negative vibes. And I mean, if you think about it, and this is what Alex talks about a lot, sometimes you wake up, you're just not feeling it, and you're just miserable. Instead of focusing on the fact that it's Monday, you have to go back to work or whatever has you down, focus on the fact that, you know what, I get to wake up today, because unfortunately, there's some people that don't. So treat every day like that as a gift and be grateful for it. And it's sort of just something that small sets the tone then for the rest of your day. So today's motivation / positivity, just practice gratitude in everything you do, and especially when you start getting the negativity that starts pumping in and coming into your world. Just know that, be grateful for it, and keep those positive thoughts going, and it'll get you through your day. All right. I mentioned the game. We'll get to it in a minute, but our question of the day recap from the other day: which Philly college coach is the best of all time? And it was literally split, and I think a lot of it went down school and loyalty lines. The Temple faction was all about John Chaney. The Villanova faction was all about Jay Wright. There was a poor Fran didn't get any votes, but it was evenly split between Herb McGee, Jay Wright, and John Chaney. I myself am biased. I will go with Coach Chaney because, yes, even though Jay Wright has those two championships and Coach Chaney didn't make it to the Final Four, as someone on my Facebook feed said, he did more with less, and he got the most out of players and took chances on guys that, quite honestly, guys like Jay Wright passed over. So he will get my vote, but I don't think you can go wrong with any one of the four, really. I do think it's Herb, John, and Jay Wright, and then Fran was kind of next level down. But I only put him on there because he does have the wins, 3 different schools. But thank you, as always, for everyone who's participating. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there with a lot of things to say about that Eagles game. So hit me up on the voice and text line. Get your voices heard. 267-495-8531. You're laying around, hungover, in a food coma, playing whatever toys you bought. Why not vent your frustration? 267-495-8531. That is the voice and text line, which we're still working on a better name for that. Speaking of gratitude, I just wanted to take one more moment to say thanks again for participating in the acts of kindness that we did the 25 days leading up to Christmas. And it helped me to sort of keep things focused, and I practiced a lot of them myself. And also, I'm so grateful again for all of your work and support with the Matty Ann Dixon Community Cupboard. So thank you. I am truly, truly grateful to be able to turn that around and help those that really, really need it during the holiday season. So thank you for all your help. One last quick housekeeping note. Be sure to check out the latest Back to the Future on the aforementioned Herb McGee. There will be a new episode this week. I just got to figure out when I'm going to be able to do it and how I'm going to set it up. So I think there's going to be one this week. I'll keep you posted as we go through the week. Just a lot going on. Personally, kids are home, trying to hang out and enjoy some time with them too. So stay tuned for updates on Back to the Future. But in the meantime, it's a great time to just go back and go through the archives, check out the Herb McGee if you haven't. All right, let's start with the Sixers. And 119-113, they lost to the Heat down in Miami. No Joe, no Jimmy Butler. I'm sure the NBA was very, very happy about this game. But They got off to a sluggish start, and they definitely are a different team without Joe, especially defensively. But they battled back, and I think it was a good chance for like Mo Bamba, B-Ball Paul, those guys to get some playing time with the other starters. This was definitely a winnable game. They just couldn't get, like I said, the slow start. Tobias and Kelly Oubre played well. Maxey struggled, and I think that to me, I've been saying and proclaiming him as a bona fide superstar. I think the fact that he struggled and the team sort of struggled because of that, that just goes to show when you have that just solidifies it to me that he's a superstar. But again, no Joe. They're back in action tomorrow against the Magic. We'll see what happens. All right, the Eagles. And first half, I was all ready to say, okay, they kind of worked through their kinks. They were able to get it done. And then the second half happened. And when that fumble really just, to me, did something to that team. Like, they played completely different than what they were in the first half. Then Tyrod Taylor coming in, and you could tell that he brought a different spark to the Giants team. Resilient win. I mean, I guess they held on to win. It should not have been that close. I don't know if I'm ready to say it was a bad win. However, they're in the driver's seat for the division now with San Francisco losing. If San Francisco can lose another one, they still have a decent shot right now at the number 1 seed. And I don't know. I mean, I have to kind of re-watch some of the game and see, but if they'd have played like the first half the entire time, I'd have felt better this morning. That second half, I mean, I get that it's a division rival, though, so they're going to play them tougher than what they would. I don't know. I don't know. I'm glad they won. We did win our bet. Moves our total to 10-8-1 on the year. I don't know. I would have liked for it to be more comfortable. But, I mean, a win is a win at this point. That's what they needed. Hopefully there's some things to build on moving forward, but there's still a lot of things that aren't setting well. Hopefully with Vontae Maddox coming back, Darius Slay coming back, they can get it together moving forward, but I don't know. I would have liked them to look a little bit more sharp, but they got the win. They're now a game up on Dallas in the division, and in a good spot. Brock Purdy got hurt last night. I don't know what the extent of that injury is, but it could be. I mean, Sam Darnold is not very good, so there could be, if Brock Purdy has to miss some time, there could be an outside shot now that the Eagles do get that number 1 seed. We'll see. I'm closely monitoring from a selfish standpoint because I have Brock Purdy on one of my fantasy teams that's going to the Super Bowl. So we'll see about that. But, yeah, that was a shameless plug for my fantasy team. I'm going to 2 Super Bowls in both of my big money league for the first time. Well, not the first time to the Super Bowl. The first time I've made it to the Super Bowl in both leagues. So might be getting a new bathroom soon. But anyway, we'll have more on the game tomorrow. I would have felt better, like I said, if they played the entire game the way they did in the first half. But that second half, and there was just something about that fumble that just really ignited the Giants and turned things around for the Eagles. But a win is a win. We'll take it. And then when we move on, 2 games left. They're still in play for the number 1 seed as well as obviously the division. So maybe they can get it right. You have some guys coming back that'll help the defense out. We'll see. Use some of your Christmas money. You guys got Christmas money. Maybe you got a Visa gift card. Maybe grandma gave you a check. Don't feel like going out and dealing with the crowds today. Go to phillygoat.com. They have a ton of selection. I mean, you're not going to be disappointed. If you order now, I'm sure you'll get it in time for the Eagles playoff run. Go see what they got. They're always coming out with new stuff. Get your Sixers gear. Flyers are on a little vacation. Get the Flyers gear. But go to phillygoat.com. Check them out. They have all your Philadelphia sports apparel needs covered. PhillyGoat.com. Make sure to use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. Grandma gave you that check. You got the Visa gift card. Go spend it. Why not? Treat yourself to something nice. Go to PhillyGoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. And you don't even have to go out and brave the crowds. Santa got us a Nintendo Switch this year and only one controller. So as we were trying to play some games last night, we were doing a little refereeing between the kids. So we are going to Target to pick up the extra controller today. Sounds like fun. But you don't have to do that. Go to PhillyGoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. All right, today we are going to go back to 2004. Excuse me. And kind of a sad day in Philly sports history. On this day, back in 2004, Reggie White passed away. Excuse me. From cardiac arrhythmia, likely caused his by sleep apnea. Just a sad day for me. He's one of my favorites. I have his starting lineup still over there over my shoulder. But with the Memphis Showboats, and I think this is, as I was doing some of the research for this, 23 and a half sacks for the USFL in 36 games. Then the Eagles signed him. He took a pay cut, basically because the league was folding. And then the rest, as they say, is history. And his first 4 seasons with the Eagles, 13 sacks in 13 games in 1985, 18 sacks in a full season in 1986, 1987, 21 sacks in 12 games. That was the strike year. So they missed a game, and there were 4 games with replacement players, and he still had 21 sacks. So you can talk to me all you want about guys like T.J. Watt and Michael Strahan. To me, that's the sack record. He would have had close to probably 26, 27 sacks if the league didn't go on strike that year. To me, he was just the man. Obviously, he left Philly, went to Green Bay, won the Super Bowl. Still to this day, there are many versions of what happened in Philly. Norman Brayman claims he offered him a contract. Reggie said, his widow, Sarah, said that no, if he would have offered him anything, Reggie would have stayed. I'm sure there was probably pressure from the players' union for him to get out there, but I tend to believe Reggie. I mean, Norman Brayman has a track record for being cheap anyway, but just I remember being heartbroken when he left. Just remember seeing him in Westchester, training camp, just all time, like one of my top 3 favorite Eagles. The fact that I got to meet him, I've told that story a lot of times. Didn't get to talk to him as much as I would have liked to because the line was so big, but that was also the day I met Jerome Brown. But he was larger than life, and just the numbers he put up was ridiculous. Like, he had 198 total sacks, which is second all-time behind Bruce Smith. But sacks weren't even counted as a stat until 1982. But if you put his USFL numbers in there, it's not even close. And if you take the USFL numbers, just say he didn't, whatever, take that out because it wasn't NFL. Excuse me. But think about that 1987 season. You think he would have had at least 2 sacks the rest of that season to have the record? I mean, it's just, what he did was just amazing. He was the Defensive Player of the Year in 1987 that year. His number 92 is retired up in the rafters at the link, or not the rafters, but up on the things at the link. He's on the Eagles 75th anniversary team. He's in the Eagles Hall of Fame. My hero, one of my first all-time favorite players. Just, to me, the best to ever do it, and I don't even think it's close. From a defensive end perspective anyway, Reggie White. But unfortunately, on this day in 2004, he passed away due to complications from cardiac arrhythmia, likely caused from his sleep apnea. But probably, like, when you're talking all-time Eagles, you got to throw Reggie's name in there. Like, it's hard to see who's better than him. But one of the all-time best to ever do it. And that is today's question of the day. Who is the greatest Eagle of all time? Is it Reggie? Is it Brian Dawkins? Is it is it somebody like Steve Van Buren? Is it Tommy McDonald? You let me know, who is the greatest Eagle of all time? I think ultimately this comes down, though, to Reggie and Brian Dawkins. So you let me know, who is the greatest Eagle of all time? Hit me up on the text line, the voice line, 267-495-8531. Who is the greatest Eagle of all time? I truly believe it comes down to one of two, but maybe it's one of the old school guys. Maybe you're a huge McNabb fan. Randall, I think, definitely has to get up there somewhat. A guy like Brian Westbrook, Wilbert Montgomery could be in the conversation. You let me know, who is the greatest Eagle of all time? 267-495-8531. Get you in on the voice and text line. All right, finally today, we're going back and revisiting our top moments of 2023 in Philly sports. Yesterday, we talked about the Flyers draft. Today, the NFC Championship game. And this is really what started this whole Eagles-49ers rivalry. Eagles won 31-7. Brock Purdy got hurt. And that basically is the story there. The 49ers fan said if we had Brock Purdy, then he came in with their chest out this year to get that revenge. But how well they played is often overlooked in that. I mean, I think the fact that the Niners couldn't stop the Eagles' pass rush, which is why Brock Purdy got hurt in that game, I think often gets looked. But I mean, setting up in the stands, knowing you're going to the Super Bowl at halftime is a good feeling. It's a rivalry now. They got their revenge, so I'm looking forward to meeting them in the playoffs again. And just I like the fact that we have a rival outside of like the division, like Dallas or the Giants. So that is our top moment of the day. The NFC Championship game. The Eagles won 31-7 to go to the Super Bowl. And again, I really do think it was the start of this rivalry. Well, it was the start of this rivalry. But I think lost in all of the Brock Purdy mess is the fact that the Eagles played damn well that game. Like, it's not like when Brock Purdy was in there, they were still dominating. And I feel like that often gets lost in that whole narrative of the NFC Championship game because of all the whining and crying that San Francisco did. But that is today's top moment of 2023, the NFC Championship game where the Eagles won 31-7. On this day in 2004, Reggie White passed away. He is one of the all-time greats, which leads us to the question of the day. Who is the greatest Eagle of all time? Let me know. Is it Reggie? Is it someone else? Get your voice or your text heard. 267-495-8531. Get you in. We'll have more on the Eagles game tomorrow. A win is a win, even if you're not that comfortable or happy about it. Again, we'll get more on that tomorrow. I have to see more. I want to rewatch some of that second half to see if maybe I was just overreacting and maybe Tyrod Taylor made it. Either way, it's a division game. To borrow a line from the Big Lebowski, it's a league game, Smoke. But we'll see. Our record is 10-8-1 on our bets. Remember, as you go through the rest of this year and into 2024, remember to just practice gratitude and be grateful for what you have and try to have that positive mindset, positive outlook going forward. Again, have a very blessed Kwanzaa to everyone out there celebrating. If you're going out to Target or anywhere to spend some of your Christmas money, Godspeed. If you see me, give me a wave, buy me a drink, and we'll be good to go. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Tuesday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.